everybody go tapping with the pop with Tigmatic.
Y'all tune into the Pop Podcast. And guess what? There's an episode of me on
and you are tuned into the Pop Podcast.
With the Pop Podcast with my boy Tigmatic. You hear me? It's going down. To follow the Pop Podcast with Tigmatic.
That's that number one.
That's that number one.
Fresh off the steps of the porch, I walk out, get in a Porsche. Know that I'm using the force. Know that I mastered the course. Known as the plug and the source. Haters, they feeling remorse. This for my dogs in court that's facing the judge and the jury. My brother, he made it in sports, and that's why he rock all that jewelry. She can remember me now. Know that my vision is blurry. I got these racks on me now. Know that the money done cured me. Know that I'm lit in my city. Know that I'm hot. Know that we poppin', man. Everybody chasing that cloud, running their mouth. Know I really feed the game. Hold up. We on the beaches and right off the coast. Down here in Florida, we doing the most. The hustle on South Beach just like a LeBron. You call it a pound and we call it a bomb. We at the lick and I'm working with chicken. Shout out my nigga from Memphis, they chicken. My dog and themselves know I know that they listening. Yeah, I'm on a new level just like I'm Hendrix. Straight from the gutter, we come from the trench. We ball on these niggas, they sit on the bench. They using the style and I swear I ain't landed. We pushing the P and the P is for profit. They watching and listening, now look how they copy. They hate and respect it, but gotta acknowledge me. Know that a nigga be doing a lot. Know that I'm lit in my city. Know that I'm hot. Know that we poppin', man. Everybody chasing that cloud, things going too hard though. Don't cry, dry your eyes, just wait. When faith is low and trust is hard, just wait. It's like I prayed and I prayed and I prayed some more. It's like the desires of my heart won't on your mind no more. Drowned in the water, couldn't find you, no car, I see a boat. Know why you ignoring me, yeah. Seen people blessed with my request, like now you gotta be teasing. Telling myself it's in due season, like I'm really believing. My blessing came once I realized delayed for a reason. You not hear me, yeah. Don't cry, dry your eyes, just wait. When faith is low and trust is hard, just wait.
Never plan ahead, live up in the moment. Put my trust in God, cause he never leave me lonely. I was trusting in my homies till he showed me they won't for me. I just wait on God, cause he'll remove them. Man, I'm many talents, I just try my best to use them. Gotta feel my purpose, if I don't, my life was useless. This a different type of music, but who else will build to do this? I just wait on God and let him use me. When faith get low and trust get hard, don't cry, wait on God, on God, on God, on God.
Don't cry, dry your eyes, just wait. When faith is low and trust is hard, just wait. Made up my mind that I can't be outside his will. That I'ma do nothing but trust him despite how I feel. When your emotions don't change your confession, it's real. You gotta keep your faith strong. That's the simplest I know. Guard what you look at and what you let between your ears. God good, his showers of comfort outweigh all your stress. It's true, I had to share this good news to all my peers. Your timing, not his timing, and the spirit I heard him say. If he didn't do it, no, it's not because it couldn't be done. You just weren't mature enough to handle it. And he ain't just gonna bless anyone. Wait on God. Don't cry, dry your eyes, just wait on God. When faith is low and trust is hard, just wait on God.
Yo, 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 what's up, y'all? You're now tuned in to another rendition of Podcast with Tigmatic. Hey, listen, it's your boy. I hope y'all doing good on this Saturday night. I'm good as always. And as always, this episode was brought to you by Hollywood TV, Hollywood Radio, Dollar Radio, Going In Radio, Rat Patch, North Shade Demore Boutique, and DamaniBrand.com. Hey, listen, I have a special guest. And this one I feel good about because this is a studious fellow, a classic man, if you will, but in his own right, in his own way. And he's very, very dope. He's an educator, he's an activist, and he's my grassroots family. Listen, I met him in LA, and you know, we built a bond, you know, and we was chilling, we talked, we had a good time, And the conversation was pretty dope. So it's only right that, I bring him on. He is also the lead organizer for BLM Grassroots, Charleston, right? South Carolina. All right. So we're going to get to it. Without further ado, I give you my guy, Marcus McDonald.
Yo,
What's good, my guy?
what up? What up? How y'all doing?
Hey, man. Welcome to the pot, man.
Yeah, good to be here. Yeah, feeling good.
All right, man. So before we get into the interview, I like to let my guests introduce themselves to the world and to my audience. So the floor is yours.
Word. Well, yeah. Yeah. Thanks for having me on. Like I said before, lead organizer of BLM Grassroots Charleston. I'm from South Carolina, born and raised. Originally Columbia, South Carolina, but most of my family's from Charleston. So it was back and forth, Charleston and Columbia. For folks who don't know South Carolina, Charleston is more coastal. Columbia is like the center. And yeah, I was just back and forth. Both of my parents are deaf. So I grew up, doing sign language. And
Oh, that's cool.
yeah, and my granddad really the one who taught me how to speak a lot. So I hung out with my granddad a lot growing up. And yeah, I'm the lead organizer of Charleston Black Lives Matter. I'm also the founder of Adesso Entertainment, where arts management and event production and curation business. We do stuff locally and also internationally. And yeah, I do a lot of different things. As I said before, I'm a teacher, do substitute teaching, and also do teaching artist work with a few different schools around the area. And yeah, do a lot of other things. But yeah, glad to be here. I also like gardening and being in nature and doing things like that. But yeah, lover of activism, learning things, organizing with folks. I'm a history nerd. So yeah, that's the type of stuff I do. Love to be here. Love to be able to talk to people and do the work I'm doing.
All right. Hey, man. There you have it. That's a small rendition. We're going to get into it, and talk on a deeper scale. But
Yeah.
that's the rundown right there, folks. So welcome to the pot, man. I'm glad you're here. We was trying to get it cracking before. Things was a little misconstrued. And that's understandable. Life be life, But I didn't know, and I was today years old when I found out that you signed.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty cool thing, man. And it's cool that you do that with your folks,
Yes, sir.
All right.
And it relates to me. I mean to interrupt, but I relate to a lot of, especially folks. A lot of Latino folks have a lot of similar experiences because my parents, when we was going to the bank, going to like anything where like they needed to speak, and it was hard. They'd either write something down or they'd have me speak for them. So it was a lot of responsibility growing up, and a lot of people who have parents who can't speak English, they they like relate to them and I relate to them. So it's like, tight-knit community, deaf community, we stick together. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. All right. So let's get into it. All right, we're going to jump on. I'm not going to just go in accordance to my order. I'm going to jump around because that makes it more organic, right?
Yeah.
So, that's one thing I want to do. Keep it organic. Keep it just like how when we was talking, at the convene.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you went to college in Charleston as well, right?
Correct.
How did your environment shape your mental health awareness?
Well, my environment, I definitely had awareness of my mental health before I went to college. I mean, it's actually a somewhat funny story, but I feel like I was like early on, like just sometimes being like overstressed out.
Right.
So like, there's like two early examples where I stressed out way too young, and I kind of just like realized how to like, I don't know, just get through it. But I remember, well, my great grandmama, she lived to be like 102, and yeah, that always meant a lot to me. And for some reason, when I was younger, I thought everybody just lives to 100. So I forgot how old I was, but I was like, I did the math. And I was like, oh, I only got like 90 whatever some years to live. And it made me feel like, oh, that's not enough time. I was like, oh, I need to do all this other stuff in between the 90 years. So
Right.
like that was like an early like test. Oh, this is so much. But mind you, I was like 8 years old. And then another thing that people might relate to is like I was in like math class and I was always like gifted in certain math things, but still had a hard time with it. And I also was in what's it called English as a second language, so I had to take like speech tutoring because both my parents were deaf. So like a lot of people who have deaf parents, they have issues with stuttering, and I still do stutter sometimes. But yeah, anyway, so I had math classes and they were like more advanced in third grade, or at least they tried to put me into that. And they had me doing long division, and I did not understand long division. And I remember I had like my first, like, I wouldn't call it a panic attack per se, but I was just like, this is just too much.
Yeah.
And I don't know, just like through that experience and other ones, like I lived, third grade came and went. So I don't know. It's just like at an early age, I kind of like realized okay, I have to, go through the emotions and like kind of go to the next step with it. And in college, same thing. Like by the time I got to college, like I was, I was a finance major, so we had a heavy workload, and I had a really good like regimen and just being like on point. And it was tough sometimes, like especially that major. But I asked a lot of questions, and I mean that'd be my main thing. Be like not ask like I asked for help, like specifically, like I've gotten actually worse at it as I've gotten older. Sometimes, like I'm not good at. I'm trying to get better at it, but yeah, ask for help. I feel like is one of the best like I don't know ways to go about it. Like even when I was in college, like the help would be either a student or just be like, Professor, can you repeat that because I understand nothing. And that people actually was think like there was this one class. I'm gonna end with this, but there's this one class that like it was like the most failed class in finance. It's like business calculus or something like that. And I remember I sat in the front of class, and there's like this dude with a strong like Latino Hispanic accent, and Dr. Gonzalez or something like that. And I remember I sat in the front of the class, and like I wouldn't say every question I had trouble with, I'd be like, excuse me, can you repeat that, whatever. And by like the middle of the class, I was actually doing really well. I almost got a B-, and which was good for that class. And yeah, people would like come up to me afterwards asking me for like tutoring help, or like, can you help me? I was like, I'm just struggling just like you is, but I'm like, I asked for help, but in that sense, it was like from the professor. So it was like that, I went to the office hours. I like, did all the other work needed outside of class to, to understand the material. So I'd say like, yeah, ask for help. And I think that was one of the main things,
So basically early on, you knew how to handle stress and not be afraid to ask for help within those moments.
Exactly.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing. A lot of us, when we're stuck, we just simply are afraid to ask sometimes because we don't want to look dumb, or we don't want to. It's a pride thing, if you will.
Definitely.
Like, it's a pride thing. You want to act as if you know it and try to figure it out on your own, and you'd rather fail than ask for help.
Yeah.
And a lot of us go through that, So for you early on knowing that it's okay to ask for help, it's a good thing.
Mm-hmm. And then one other thing too, I mean, interrupt, but it's like on my train of thought type thing, organically. But there's some of my grandmama, she really like enthused me as far as like mental health, and this is early on. But I would go home because again, I hung out with my granddad a lot. My mom was at work, and pretty much, sorry, I just heard something in the background. But pretty much every time I would come home, I would like, say, hey, grandma, how's it going? And she was like, how was your day? Excuse me. And I'd be like, it was good. And it was like, what's good about it? A burger's good. And I remember she always would tell me like either say like what was good about it, or say great, or say excellent, or awesome, or whatever. So every time I answer the phone, I'm always like, I'm doing great, doing amazing, or like I'll say specific things I'm at least grateful for. And I think my grandma early on, that's why she asked me like, don't just say good. Like say, if there was an issue with the day, or like there was something good today, talk about that. Like be specific about like memorizing the good things. Sometimes a whole day will go by, and the only thing you remember is the bad thing, and that can like kind of like alter your day. But she kind of like
Absolutely
enthused me, like, okay, if you had a good day, like what was good about it, and like, you know, like think about it, you know what I mean? So, and appreciate that part. Yeah, the good part.
Yeah, I remember having those moments as a youngin' myself where I would have to articulate what my day was like. And I think that's very important for a lot of us as Black males in general. You know, articulate things. Say what happened. Say how your day was. Express yourself.
Yeah.
So that's pretty awesome that you had a support system like that. So, which leads to my next question, and I'm going to ask, okay, what were the earliest lessons you learned about resilience and self-worth as a Black man in the South?
Resilience and self-worth.
Yeah.
Well, it's so funny because I was talking to somebody yesterday. It was like last night. It was after a potluck that we had in Charleston with some other activists, and we're talking about it's like there's, as far as like some of the new generation is coming out now, not coming out, but it's like the generation that's now 18 going into college that now we're organizing with. So, and a lot of them were born in 2007, 2008, and now they're 18, which is like sometimes wild to think about, but it's like that's the reality. And we was talking about how, and I've been like still processing this over the last couple of days, but because we had a event at the College of Charleston and Black Student Union and saw a lot of them, met a lot of them, but their frame of reference not being like alive and around, or at least they were alive when Obama was president, but they weren't like conscious of like what that meant.
What was really going on, right?
Yeah, and I think him being the president, I guess like was one of the early things for me, especially because we were part of the election democratic process. So like my granddad took me to, and he's still around. He does a lot of great work. One of my big inspirations. But he took me to the Democratic Party office, and we would pass out snacks to people in the election line. Some I still do pretty much every big election. And
I worked the elections this year as well.
Nice. Yeah, so definitely be super important. He took me out there, and to see Obama win and be at the inauguration, they had some at the State House. That was big for me because, again, a lot of people didn't think that was going to happen. And yes, there's definitely like, accurate critique on some of the things he did with as far as immigration and, the other things outside internationally. But yeah, especially for Black folks, it meant a lot as far as self-esteem as a Black man, to see him be able to speak in the different ways and move in certain rooms. That was definitely very, some as far as like resilience and self-confidence, like seeing him on TV all the time and, the things they said about him and all that
stuff. So what did it do for you personally?
For me personally, I feel like with public speaking, because like public speaking was such a big thing that was like a difficult part for me because I was like a child of deaf parents. So that's something that, my parents didn't really have to deal with. My granddad, as a pastor, I would see him public speaking a lot. So it's something that he had to grasp with, and seeing like the way Obama was able to grasp a crowd and like get folks engaged. Like I was like, that's really dope. So I think that inspired me. And also just like growing up and seeing also a lot of activists like with the Black Lives Matter movement before, like while I was still young and in high school, like not be, directly involved, but seeing them speak at protests and them like have full of energy and organizing different things. I always thought that was powerful and impactful. And even hip hop too, like the delivery of hip hop, I feel like, and a lot of rappers, I feel like that's also inspired me. Like rap is a very confident thing. Like there's a lot of rappers who I look to that some of the words and and the meanings behind some of the words that they said definitely impacted me as a child and as even a teenager, especially. And I'll end the question or in my answer after this, but Kendrick Lamar's "Good Kid, Mad City" was a big
great album.
Me, yeah. And the thing was so like, and I think about this pretty often when I listen to it now, but it came out around the time, like the time that he's speaking about in the album, it released in that time in my life. So it makes sense. Kendrick Lamar in that album, it was like he was going from 10th grade to 11th grade, which is a very pivotal moment for a lot of Black kids, especially teenagers, especially when they're Black teens and they're in the inner city and there's like things going on. And that's when a lot of people, what you call, jump off the porch and they, get into different things. Yeah. So I was literally in that point in my life when he dropped that. And yeah, it did mean a lot to me because he spoke on a lot of things I like really, really like connected with on a lot of different levels. And just his confidence on getting through that, and also, understanding, peer pressure and dealing with friends, dealing with love and different things like that. And having the confidence of like, I can do anything I want to be, you know what I mean? And be, proud of my city and still, put on for my city. I thought that was real powerful, early on. So some big inspirations.
Okay. So you see inspiration through things all around you, and that's a great thing. Okay.
Oh, I got one more. Also, Haitian Revolution. My granddad put me on that early, and that inspired me too to see, like, because the story of the Haitian Revolution is pretty much the St. Louis Overture, and that formerly enslaved folks, they got together and defeated Napoleon, who was undefeated before, and he was untouchable. Yeah, so for them to take him down, and like my granddad teaching me all that early, and I never heard about it in any of my history books. So like up and really throughout grade school, we never really talked about it. But to know that I knew about it, and I'll tell everybody about it, obviously. But yeah, like that was very inspiring to me, like a group of Black folks. And a lot of people don't know John Dessalines. Or Jacques Dessalines. I'm saying the last name wrong, but one of the original generals of the Haitian Revolution, he was a waiter. Like he was just like he was a waiter who overheard a lot of the plans from the French generals, and that's how he got involved. So you had examples of people, and it's St. Louis Overture was like a farmer who was like middle aged. So it's like you had examples of people who were just common folks who was like, I'm not going for it, and I'm organized.
Right.
That was a very inspiring thing to me, just learning that type of stuff. I learned that in like fifth, sixth grade.
Yeah, that's cool. You definitely had early lessons of resilience. So yeah, I can see that. That's cool, man. I like how, when you talk to someone, it's just like how when you first met them. This is exactly how this is going for me, because when we first met, the same way we talking now, it's kind of like the same way, except I'm on headphones. We're in the virtual room, but we was having some good talks, and we talked about music and things like that. But let's dive into music just for a quick second before we even go deeper into this mental health journey and activism and everything else. I want to get your take. I ask everybody this, right? I ask everybody this question because I like to get to know what people really feel, or how their point of view on this whole situation between Kendrick Lamar, you brought him up, and Champagne Poppy, right? We all know him as Drake. Now, me personally, you already know how I feel. I rock with Lamar. But how do you feel that this thing is playing out the way it is right now with the whole legal battle and everything?
So, I mean, my perspective is, I think that, Kendrick Lamar has that represents what hip hop's like came from, and that origins hip hop, where he's from, type of thing. So I think, where he's at right now, Kendrick has done what he's done, been really successful, did the Super Bowl, which I thought was good. The only thing that I didn't really like, I still have mixed feelings about is with the Super Bowl and the guy who did the disruption action around it. I think that would have been a good opportunity for Kendrick to say something on those issues, even though he said he's not going to say nothing on these issues when he came out.
He subliminally did it, though.
I don't know, though. What do you think? What do you think was subliminal?
All right. The whole Samuel Jackson thing was brilliant.
Yeah.
Right? everything that was being said, every time Samuel came back on, and then certain songs will play behind it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was like we knew Trump was at the game.
Yeah.
We knew Trump was watching. And then it was like all of these subliminal digs at the president while the president's there.
Yeah.
But also saying, look, we're going to be unapologetically Black, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
So that's what I kind of got from it, especially with the digs with Samuel saying, don't be on these corners and don't be too much with it and all of that. That was the subliminal digs, you know, and I loved it. I loved it. I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah, and I think he does a lot of good representation type of thing for that. And like I said, my thing with Drake is, and I think about this a lot, but not a lot, but anytime when there's a conversation around this, I feel like Drake's music aged backwards. Like if you look at some of his earliest albums, those are some of his better ones because he seemed like he was like talking about more mature things. And then you get his current catalog like right now, and it's like, yeah, it's like aged or not aged like that. His old stuff is aged well, but like the new stuff and kind of like what he became, because I feel like he's like, as you remember early on, people used to like go at him for like being soft and different things like that. And I think he like, some people overcorrect and like he, tried to push this whole narrative. People know you're not like that.
Right.
I think he should have just kind of stayed in his lane as far as like singing and that type of thing. That's what the women love. That's what a lot of his audiences would love, for him to just like stick to the singing thing, which he does sometimes, but throughout his things. But yeah, as far as like hip hop and like that, the writing to do that, I think that's what Kendrick represents, and I think that's what he's been doing. So I thought it was good.
I would agree.
Yeah, I think it's because I feel like they're in different lanes. Like even though they're like the tops of the things, I always seen them in different lanes. Like I always would.
Same here.
With Kendrick's an album by Kendrick, I'll listen to maybe like a song that'll come on in the club with Drake type thing. Like yeah, it's like singles more so. At least like more recently, but yeah, nah. So I kind of saw them in different like I appreciated the battle because that's what rap was born out of. But yeah, I still wish that Kendrick spoke up more on like specifically on issues, because you have examples like people like Chance, people like No Name who speak on it like more directly, and even like Kalani who speak on the issues more directly. And I wish to do that because like that's what built his base. Like when he was early coming out, like you spoke on issues. So I understand like as you get to a certain level, people say you can't do certain things, but
I think they try to water them down at a bit.
You said what?
I think they tried to water down the artist at a certain height in their career.
Yeah.
Once they get to a certain height in their career, there are certain issues, especially with everything going on, right? They want to say, oh, you can speak on it, but don't talk too much. And I started to see that with him. Yeah. And I think that comes with a level of, I want to say, politics, industry politics, because it goes on a lot. We see this with a lot of our favorite artists. Once they get in, you hear the hunger in the beginning, but the higher they go, the less the substance is in the music. So, yeah. All right. So that was a great take. I like how you looked at that, because I kind of look at it that way. My only thing is, and I say this constantly, I just wish that dude wouldn't have sued over this situation, because that was kind of weird, And then on top of that, if you go back, it's video proof of some of the stuff that this dude was saying.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right. So, was there ever a moment in college where you questioned whether activism would come at the expense of your peace of mind?
Yeah, I feel like was there a time, I wouldn't say even in college, but I'd say like maybe when I was first coming out.
How old were you when you first started activism?
I was always active when I was young, but I didn't join Charleston BLM till I graduated. But
so how old were you?
I was like 23. Yeah, 22, 23.
Okay.
So yeah, I was pretty young. But how I felt about it during that time is I was a finance graduate and I, was at this job, and the job I didn't really like at that time. It was really draining, especially after the pandemic, or like during the pandemic, but even before, it was a lot. So yeah, I mean, once I started getting more into the activism and organizing, I had a choice to make because I was doing it. I mean, a lot of the people at the office was talking about it, and I knew a lot of people at the office was not really for it. Like, you know what I mean? Even though they were
Right.
smiling in the face and saying, "Oh, that's great," but I knew they wasn't really about it. So, I had like a decision to make, and I was like, "Yo," and I asked them, I was like, "Can I get a 2-week hiatus or something like that?" And they was like, "Nah." So I was like, I'm gonna send in my resignation. So I sent in my resignation. And luckily, I had some money saved up. Or not luckily, but I did have some money saved up, for rainy days. And yeah, I saved up, pretty much resigned my job in the middle of the pandemic. And yeah, pretty much went forward into my organizing. So to answer your question, like, was I worried about it? Like, yes, because I was like, I'm going full throttle into this. But at the same time, too, though, I knew that this is what I always wanted to do. So, yeah, it was like kind of like an ambivalent feeling because, I was worried, but at the same time, I was like, I know, like, I'm going the right path because, like, I didn't want to just be in the office in the desk, like, doing this my whole life. So I was like, hey, if I can just like go the path that that really like speaks with me and speaks to my heart, I felt like
Path that God wanted you on.
exactly.
Yeah, I can dig that, man. I can respect that a whole lot, man. Listen, you already know we've had the conversation when we started talking about activism. You asked me how did I get interested in it. I told you, and you told me how you got started. But I'm learning a bit more, during this interview. And as I learn, one thing that I'm learning about you is that you're a very passionate person. And it's not too many people that I know personally. I can say that it's not too many people that I know that when they speak passionately in a rhythmic way. You do that. So I want to ask you this, and this is also my questionnaire. This is not even on the questionnaire. When you did your first protest, right? What was the feeling you had inside, and where were you mentally?
That is a good question. So there's I have like two somewhat answers. So the first one I was at, and like I became, a central force with was Saturday. I think it was like the Saturday after everybody saw the video of George Floyd's murder. And I had my trombone. I almost didn't bring my trombone, but I brought it out. And I remember it was like we were in Marion Square, which is like the center of Charleston, which is where a lot of protests for like centuries have happened. Like my granddad protested in Marion Square.
Absolutely.
And I mean, there's protests dated there with Black folks since like 1869 and before. But say this to say, yeah. So we was out there, and there was like a lot of people, like kind of in the middle, not kind of, but in the middle of the street, like hundreds. So like, say we're deep, and I have my trombone, but I'm not playing it. I'm like just waiting for the right moment, and it got really tense. And there's like we're like cop cars there, and everybody's surrounding them. And I remember I just like played one note, like, and it wasn't even a note, but it was just like a loud noise. And I did that, and I remember. Yeah, that was like the first, like I did that and people was like watching me. It was like, oh, who's this guy? So we like started marching down the street, and I had the trombones like do-do-do-do. And some people came and joined me who also randomly had instruments. And we semi-led that one, but I wasn't the leader. So I left, and then it got real buck. Not gonna talk too much about that. But the first one I led was that following day, and we're like, we came out there. There was a lot of animosity in the air because a lot of people got arrested the night before. So we was coordinating that and hoping, nobody got arrested this time. And, was out there. The police cracked down on us super heavy. And before they even cracked down on us, there was a lady who was running around with a pistol. She came and would cock it and point it at protesters and drive around threatening us. And then white lady. And then but no arrest or nothing until maybe several weeks later.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's the lady that went viral, right?
Probably so.
I think I remember what you're talking about. I wasn't there, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so she was there. She was tripping on that. But yeah, she was out there. So that was one thing. And also with the police, they was throwing tear gas at us, rubber bullets. There's this teacher right now. She got shot in the eye with a rubber bullet, real bad, black eye. But yeah, it was real bad. So we left, and I still have I had PTSD for a minute. It's less than a little bit now, but as far as the Calhoun Street where it happened, there that's where I got hit with tear gas for the first time. And I remember it just like yesterday, because I was trying to go to my car because there's this big tank that was playing the songs Bad Boys, Bad Boys. I was what? It was all looking at it weird. And then as soon as the song ended, they started throwing the tear gas. And which, looking back at it, is situationally funny, but at the moment it's screw, because it's we're just people protest for our rights. We just obviously don't deserve to be tear gas. So the tear gas hit, everybody's dashing, so including me. So I run, and I had a car at the time, so ran to my car. And I had stuff in my hand. I'm fumbling with the car, and also trying to, because I know the tear gas is coming my way. And it's the wind's coming my way. So I'm trying to go against time, open the thing, try to get my trombone in. The trombone don't fit. So I had try to get it in that way. And doing all this flipping and stuff, I closed the door thinking that I beat the tear gas, but the tear gas already hit me. And I guess in that split second of me trying to get my trombone in, that's when the tear gas got in, got in my car. And so I turned my engine on, and I remember by the time I turned the engine on, I couldn't see a thing. So I'm hearing my engine, and I know I'm still in the car, but I'm totally blind. So the road in front of me has been blocked off because I guess they blocked it off because there's protests. So there's no road going on. I know there's no ongoing traffic. So I just hit the ignition and just go. And I remember I went a block away, and I go to a stop sign. And mind you, it's the middle of the day, or it's a stoplight. And this is the middle of downtown Charleston. So I'm at a stoplight, and then there's a one way, and there's cars going by. And I pretty much get out of my car, put it in a park, and pour a bottle of water on my eyes. And I just kind of remember that moment because it's I walk past that block all the time. And to think about what the people who was driving my thought, because in the background is a lot of police, a lot of people running around and stuff. And I'm just pouring water over my face, trying to get this tear gas out. And after, I do my thing, I get back in my car, I drive home, and I ended up, trying to get right. And I got, went to jail right after and started getting people out of jail and coordinating things on that. And because that was my original role, is to get people out of jail and do social media. So, and then, I wasn't even the lead organizer for the first several months, but, it's a title that I earned from showing up, being the coordinator of different things, and really being on the east side doing community work. But yeah, that was my first protest, or first one that I was in charge of, and they went, pretty soft in a lot of different ways. But
so how did it affect you mentally?
Well, yeah. So as far as the PTSD thing I was talking about, for years, and it's less so now. But I remember one time, or a couple times actually, I would be driving, and if I had seen the especially old, I guess some, anyways, sometimes sewers, the steam will come out, the sewer steam, that will trigger has triggered my PTSD at some points, with maybe like 2 or 3 years afterwards, I feel like not so much now. But I remember one time I saw the steam come out and my eye just started pouring water, like tearing up, like uncontrollably for like maybe like for a good little minute. I was like, oh Lord, like, you know what I mean? And again, obviously no tear gas, so just like that memory of being on Calhoun Street and just like the tear gas hitting me, it affected me for years after. Again, it hasn't triggered my tear ducts like that recently, like in the last couple of years, but definitely some years after it did. And yeah, just like I definitely have PTSD around like organizing, protests and marches. Like I know, like it don't scare me from doing it because obviously that's what I do. But I'm just real cautious about what's going on, who driving by, like you know what I mean, like because we've had all sorts of things happen. But yeah, it just has me definitely with a lot of awareness, and I mean just. I have a lot of respect for organizers, anybody who's done a protest, because like literally anything can happen. Like
anything can happen.
Yeah.
That's a fact. Yeah. Hey man, salute to you because you fight the good fight, boots on the ground, and you ain't afraid, and that's a great thing, So I commend you on that, bro.
Yes, sir.
All right, so. How did your time at college in Charleston prepare you mentally for leadership roles in activism?
So my time at College of Charleston, I was a finance major, but I also did political science. I took a few classes on it. So I feel like it prepared me in the way that I learned about, actually it turned me to an anti-capitalist because I learned about banking institutions and what you learn. And thankfully I had like a lot of really dope Black professors who like really put me on game and like pushed me. So they wasn't giving it easy, but like the class I was talking about banking institutions. I took care of that professor's mother who had dementia. So we had a close bond, but that was still one of my hardest classes. And she was on my top. So like we'd have these extra credits that everybody went to, and they're like 6 a.m. And to get college students to go somewhere at 6 a.m. is wild. But that just shows you how hard the class was. But I learned about banking institutions, and my bank was Barclays. And as you may or may not know, Barclays is one of the oldest banks, and a lot of the origins of it really origin back to like before banking was a thing, and originally it was goldsmithing, and pretty much like they kept gold, and like that would be what they did. And originally that was like illegal in the church. Like the church wasn't with like collecting gold because they thought it was a sin. And it was Jewish families that were the original people who had like the banks because that wasn't considered a sin in their religion. And I know now a lot of Jewish families get a lot of hate for it, but it's kind of ironic to think about like y'all hating them now, but like when y'all the one who say y'all didn't want to do it, so they was like, listen.
Now everybody else is on it, and y'all got a disdain for it.
Exactly. So yeah, and I learned a lot, and also showed me like it's all this money in the world, ain't no reason why it should be poverty. Like you know what I mean? So
I agree.
That's what it broke to me because it's like ain't no way like all these bank institutions they still are gonna remain the same. They done so much damage to so many people. So I was like, yeah, nah, because it almost got me like in the middle of finance. I was like, oh, maybe there's but nah. I mean, I do believe that like yes, there's like you should work hard and do X, Y, Z, but the system is made to work against you in a lot of ways to keep the people in power. You know what I mean? There's not like that, that system where they tell you about level up. They usually have the people they know is going to be their replacement already planned out far, far in advance. And they're not looking at you. You're not on their radar. So yeah, it taught me a lot early on. But yeah, that, and as far as organizing goes, we did public speaking in that class or at college, so that helped. There was a study abroad, and then we went to Ghana, and it was like actually a finance study abroad. We went to the city of Accra, which is like the major city in Ghana, and that inspired me a lot. Yeah, because we saw like just Black folks just like in business suits, people like. It's on point, just doing what they need to do. And to see that in the cross, see that in the cross, see the architecture and all the things that they built in Africans. Also going speaking to the students and different things. And even in the village, like people in the village were so on point. There's people moving from the big city to the village for like just certain things that the village had that like it's just like what's special, like a what's called internet cafe and different things. So yeah, it was real special. Seeing them like in the daytime and also at night. Like the village people know how to get turned up too. So they was having fun, having a good time, and also it taught me about like project responsibility, and like people actually do counting on you to like do things and showing up. And when we got there, I didn't expect them to actually think that we're gonna be able to do. We had to make like a fish farm, and yeah, I thought it was not a joke, but I didn't think they were gonna think we were actual professionals. But we got there, and I was like, "Where the fish farm at? Like, what you got going on?"
So y'all literally had to make a fish farm.
Yes, bro. So we had to like estimate it and like get the 5-year financial plan in order, and talk to different other professionals in the industry and make something happen. And it's a fish farm to this day. So it's called Mikey's Fish Farm, and it's in Akrasi. So it's like kind of in like the inner part of Ghana and rural part. And yeah, it's still a fish farm to this day where they have fish for the it's right next to a school and close to the village. So they use it for feeding the folks, and they also sell it and have different things going on.
Oh, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Salute to you, my guy.
Early on, yes, sir. That's what I do.
All right, man. So, all right, let's talk about this. As a lead organizer of Charleston BLM, grassroots, let's throw that out there.
Yes,
you're dealing with systemic injustice every day. How do you manage the emotional weight of constant resistance?
How do I balance the weight of constant resistance?
Yeah.
So, well, how do I balance it? Well, I know that there's like folks in the background who support, and I know that that's like the main thing. I feel like I balance in that because that's who I know, and like there's a lot of people unknown who probably, or not probably, but are working against the type of things I'm doing. But yeah, I focus more on like the people who's like look at me and like affirm like, oh yeah, no, what you're doing is right, and I'm gonna stand behind you 10 toes down. And thankfully, there's a lot of people who affirm me. Like I get like over the last couple, really, yeah, like throughout, thankfully in Charleston, especially because we have like a history of civil rights activism, Black Power activism, and even like, talking about Mother Emanuel and different things. There's a history of activism and advocacy. So I feel like I get affirmed a lot, especially like as I've been consistent. Like those first couple years were rough, but after people saw like, oh, nah, he's not going nowhere. Like he's staying around, he's doing his thing. People do affirm me. People like, yo, like Marcus, people not like it don't come like all the time, maybe like once a month on passing, whatever. But people really do affirm me, like, yo, you do a lot of good work for the city, like, you're on point. So and I honor that. I take so much respect in that because people got so much things doing their own lives. So to be able to like know and hear about some of the work we be doing, I do take a lot of honor and respect to that. So I really put more, what's the word? And it'd be like everybody from like somebody who's in like a nonprofit, those type of groups, but also like just the lady who's sweeping her front porch, like who I walk past her house almost every day. Like she'll stop me sometimes, like, yo, I saw you on the news, or like, I just want to say, and they be stopping me, just be giving my flowers like in real time. So I be thinking about those moments, especially when it's like we going against like, I don't know, the state superintendent, or like, like people who they don't even want to hear you. I think about, those, people who have affirmed me, my mentors, people who I work with. I usually try to think of those and center them because the system already is thinking about them all the time. So like,
absolutely,
I see them,
and their eyes are on them constantly.
Exactly. Yeah. So I focus on at least like what I can control, and like who's not control, but who I can touch and who's around me. And when we get to that area where we have to be boots to the ground against them, I think about them because I know what we're here and I know what I need to say to interact with them. But most of them, I'm thinking about like, my people and like what we got going on. I think that grounds me because like the thought of like all the mess coming at you, that can really drown you into like thinking nothing's possible because like that's all you're thinking about. But if you think about, there's like not only the history, but there's the right now, there's the local, there's the national, there's the international too. Because like when I went to Paris, when I went to even Japan and other places, like they were asking me about, what's going on in Charleston? Like, I've been seeing this. And so being affirmed in even other places outside the country has been really inspiring and like filling because it's like, there's people who are watching, you don't even know. Like sometimes you just do work and just you keep going, but there's people who watch and they support. And I think that definitely helps balance me out versus like, all the mess because I see that people, overall will support, or at least like in the background, like knowing we're on the right side of history. So.
Yeah, being on the right side of history is definitely a great thing. And having that support will definitely help you mentally as well because, man, listen, sometimes we get nervous in these things and what we do, and we never know the outcome, right? So for you and what you do, I want to say that there's times that I've, went to, your socials, right? Mm-hmm. Because we know each other, but we don't know each other, right? So even, just reaching out to you at times, right? For me, it's more of I want to pick your brain. Mm-hmm. I want to pick your brain because you're one of the OGs of activism. I know in your way you're not the OG, but I'm saying for me because you've been doing it longer than me. And that's why I say that I'm new to activism. So for me, y'all the OGs because y'all got y'all years in already. And for me, just getting my feet wet, I'm like the little guy. You know what I'm saying? And I still don't have everything all together yet. But people like yourself, Dr. Miller, you already know, Dr. Abdullah, I want to pick y'all brains, so that way I can learn how to move in a certain way, right? Because this thing right here is not for the weak. And I say that, in the fullest regard, like this is not for the weak here. And if you had a piece of advice to give anyone that wanted to do activism, what would that be?
I'd say do it as a group and not by yourself. Because doing it by yourself can be real tough. Don't be afraid to.
I'm by myself right now. I got 2 people so far. I finally got 2 people. Yeah. But it was hard at first, but
just like you're saying, like sometimes you might be alone at the first steps, but like find your people, find an organization because that's gonna help you a lot in like organizing, finding, the people who either do similar type of work or is looking to support you and support and like come up to the things like show up to the city councils, etc. Because that's where you're gonna build your family, and it's gonna you're gonna be able to hopefully like get food with these people, like have drinks if that's your thing, and get to know these people. And it's not just gonna be a draining thing anytime you go to the city council because you're gonna have your people with you, and it's like we just had a good time last night, so I'm just seeing my homie again. Yeah, we're gonna have to do this real serious thing and talk and do XYZ. But after the city council, we might go to each other's house and have a good time, talk about things, just like enjoy each other's company. And I think that relationship building, it'd be one of the biggest things in being continuous. Because like the most impactful activism, yes, some of it can be like a one moment thing, but the most impactful activist and the group-wise, organization-wise, it has to be over a continuum. So like thinking as far as long-term, how can you be there? You got to build long-term relationships because like you have to be replaceable because something happened to you or you can't do a certain thing. If the thing you're wanting to do still has to be done, you have to have people to be able to maneuver. Like, this person can help out in this way. So
you got to be like a spider out here.
Spider.
Multiple legs out here.
Either spider or like an ant. Ants do well because you always see them like built, when they moving something, they always have a group. They're not moving stuff themselves. They got like they got teams. So I feel like it's something like that. You get your team together.
Yeah, the team is coming along. I got 2 so far, and I thank God for that.
See, we got 5, and that's like the 5 that we got is like been holding us down for so long. So
yeah, that's a roster right there.
listen, but even in the 5, like I said, people come and go. Like one of our people she pregnant now, so she doing her thing. But yeah, it's yeah. So it's ebbs and flows. Like people come and go, but yeah, if you got a solid like 2 is we started with like Daniel 20, 30, and then after everybody, all the real serious people stayed, and all the fake people kind of did their own thing. Not fake, but people just have life. Life happens. So
Yeah, I mean, you can say fake too in a way, because one thing I'm starting to learn about this thing here as well is you got to wean through people and pick their brain a bit to see what their intentions really are, and if they really are for the cause and really about being boots on the ground, So I had to learn that the hard way, but that's for another situation. We'll talk about that off camera.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. How do you handle being both an activist and a target in a city with deep racial history? How do you handle that? Because like you just spoke on it, Charleston is a historical place that's known for activism. So I'm pretty sure the bigotry is on go there.
Yep.
So how do you handle that?
Well, I think that a good way to handle it is I'm a student of history. So I watch how like other activists have handled it in the past, like going back to the 1800s with Denmark BC, and some of the other activists who organized in certain ways in the city on these same streets. So I look at that, and how do I handle it? And I don't mean to be a broken record, but there's also a lot of other Black folks and people of all racial demographics who also understand their history, and they see me in that continuum, and they're like, we have to protect him, we have to support him in certain ways. So how I handle it is like I'm observant of it, and I know that I got ties to it too. So what I also see is like in my activism for like what I'm doing right now, it's also activism for my ancestors that weren't able to say anything. Because I have ancestors who was enslaved at Buhan Plantation, and a lot of disturbing things happened to them on that plantation. And that's why I got a little bit light skinned in the family right now. Let's go what happened on that plantation. And then I just other enslaved folks throughout that downtown who was part of my family as well. And those things, it inspired me to go harder, especially in the city, because I know that like, in my beliefs that they is over me watching me. And they're like, yo, like you doing the right thing, you fighting for us. Like we wasn't able to fight because we was enslaved, we was under the barrel of a gun and not able to speak up as much as they may have wanted to. So that's another way like I balance it and think about it is like, yo, it's bigger than me in so many ways. Because not only is the ancestors, they can't fight because they're no longer with us, but it's a lot of people in their 9-to-5s. There's a lot of people in different like parenting or like, social situations where they can't speak out as much as they want to, and need to. So to be somebody who can, and to be somebody who can organize and be that connective tissue, it's an honor. So I try to, live in that honor, and also just like do my best to live up to it. And like that helps me balance it because I'm honored to be given the gift to be able to do this type of thing. So I balance that with it. It's like I'm honored to be able to do it, and and also pass the knowledge. Because I've like Dana mentored and mentee. I got to text one of my mentees right now. Not right now, it's late, but I got to text them because they're doing some great things and great work just in the city. And it's nothing I ever take credit for or anything, but I really appreciate the impact that not only that we've done in the city, but the people who we've taught and they went on to do other things. The impact that they've done, like it's been really inspiring. I feel like that be inspiring me to like beyond all the other stuff. And like, we still got plantations to make a lot of money. We still got political candidates that like be like making whole ads about our protests, like negative ads that is.
Yeah.
yeah, I balance it out with knowing like, yeah, like not only is people on the east side, or people in the Bay, and people who, you know, from the city who really support us. But yeah, I don't mean to be a broken record, but yeah, that's be really what
Hey, listen, you're not a broken record here.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, that would be what's centering me versus all the other things going on. Especially being a student of history, a lot of these things are cyclical, and the power structure been remaining the same. So it really be the same people doing a lot of the same tactics and just kind of like remixing it every few years. So being a student of history and knowing certain things, that's helped me because a lot of the kind of ideas that people may have, people that had them before. Like you'll look at a conversation in the 70s, and it'll be people saying some of the same things. And what if we do this? And what if we do that? And it's like, but in reality, like a lot of some of that stuff just doesn't work, or like, you know, it's not as effective. So yeah,
Man,
it helps.
I would say to anybody that's watching this interview right now, go back when this interview is over and get every single gem that this man threw out there for y'all. And I will also say this, do what I'm doing. Go read, man. Go get the history and really learn about activism to really know what it is that you're doing if you decide to do this. Like I said, once again, this is not for the weak. And just like Marcus said, you got to know the history. History is important.
Yeah, and also don't let it scare you too, because some people be like, you have to know the history before you get into it. I'd say start doing the work and work under somebody. Be okay with asking somebody to mentor you or somebody activist in the scene. Like,
yeah, Dr. Miller's my mentor.
Yeah, because we need help. So like, don't be afraid to ask your local activist, ask your local group, like, yo, what's going on? Like, can I kind of follow you on a city council meeting and hear one of your speeches or whatever? Like those little things, like you might think, I mean, too busy or whatever, but they might really appreciate that, and you'll learn a lot, even though you might not know everything coming into it. Like,
right.
You see what they doing, and you can still do your history and learning and do that while you're boots on the ground. Like you don't have to do one at a time. You can do both of them.
Both at the same time. That's right.
Because the moment needs people now sometimes. Like yes, do your reading, but yeah, like you have to meet the moment where it's at. Because you could be doing reading for a whole year, and now the moment's passed,
and you don't get nothing done.
Exactly. So yes, you got to do both. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you there, my guy. All right. So, you ever experienced activist burnout? And if so, how do you recognize the signs in yourself and others?
So I usually recognize it with others. If they stop texting me back or something, I'm like, all right, let me just cool out. Or I'll just, before I say let me cool out, I'll just like text them like, and this is something I tell all the new people who organize with. I just tell them like, yo, I'd rather you tell me you're gonna take a break than quitting. Because a lot of people would just quit outright versus like just like stepping it back or saying, oh, I can only do like once a month or something. So I'm real clear with folks about like, let me know your availability. And certain people, if they're like, I don't know, and I've seen so many people come and go, but like, yeah, just like as far as like burnout, I'll do it myself first. I recognize in myself that I'm just like tired, and I take naps. So if I can't take my nap in, if I go like a few days without having a nap in, that can usually be a sign of me being like doing too much. But I try to at least get a nap in, at least like once or twice a week type of thing. If not more, I try to do some more. But I recognize it in that. But yeah, kind of like it's an internal body thing, because I've like gone through different phases of it, of being of just having a lot going on. But that's usually how I do it. And other people, you can kind of see if they, again, like stop coming to meetings, or like, they just don't show up as much. It's pretty clear when you see in other people. I've been able to like recognize in other people, because people have different schedules. But thankfully, I also have to think about my schedule. Like my schedule has been more clear since I made the decision to to jump into the school for it. But I know some people have different, you know, whether they got kids or whether they got, you know, a salary job, it's a little bit different than my time situation. So yeah, I'm understanding of that. I just try to like I said, I ask people their schedules before they even get involved with it. And I try to do check-ins like kind of in the middle and throughout. And yeah, that's, you know, something I've grown a better practice, just asking, even if I don't get no signs or nothing, like, yo, how you feeling? Where you at with the process? Do you think you got any feedback or whatever? I usually try to ask that like throughout our organizing. So it's not like we don't get to the point of being burned out and then you have to send this long text about, I feel all this type of thing. At first, I didn't know how to do that, but now, like, you know, I try to communicate clearly, like, yo, how you feeling? And just, I'll leave it open to them. If they feel like they're doing too much, then, you know, I let them, I'll usually say just like, yo, take a month off. I'll hit you back up next month and we can see if we can start back up again.
Yeah.
But yeah, usually I, just say give people some time, time to have, life things sorted out. But yeah, that's what I usually do. But I'll ask before we get to that point. I try to at least like, yo, after maybe like 1 or 2 meetings, like, yo, how you feeling? Is this too much, too less? You want to do more? Give them the option. Just communicate.
That's cool. That's cool. That's the part of caring for people, folks. So you hear it straight from Marcus. He's watching his own mental exhaustion and caring for others as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that's definitely dope, man. And I appreciate that. All right. On that note, we're going to take a quick break and then we'll be right back. Right? So before we go, I want to say, we moving and booming. Hollywood TV, Hollywood Radio, Dollar Radio, Going In Radio. I'm sitting here with my guy, Marcus McDonald. Black Lives Matter grassroots is Black Lives Matter. And we'll be right back as I play the next episode, the next video, Corey Wims, Wife You.
I hope you really know what I feel. I know I mess up, baby, that's for sure. I do need you walking out that front door. You ain't leave me, please believe in me, yeah. And I'ma show you love like you never felt before. Would you mind if I wiped you, baby? Would you mind if I iced you? I wanna rush, but I want you. it's the same thing. Every night a different place.
2025, break down! Power up! 51 shots. Break down! Power up! Next thing gonna be bigger and better. Yeah! 2 times, break down! Where we at?
Outside!
Where we at?
Outside!
Where we at?
Outside!
We want that smoke, where we at?
Outside!
Alrighty.
All right, y'all. We are back. We was in that video.
Yeah, we was there. Yeah.
We was definitely there. They want that smoke. Where we at?
Right.
Outside. All right. So welcome back for those that's just tuning in. People on LinkedIn, Facebook, y'all can definitely comment, say some things. We here because I can see that y'all watching. But say something. We here. But I'm here with Marcus McDonald.
My bad. Go ahead. I said we open for questions for sure.
Yes, and we definitely open for questions if y'all got questions. All right. Marcus McDonald, BLM Charleston, and BLM North Carolina right here. So y'all got the Carolinas going right now today. All right. So, all right, here's my next question, bro.
Let's do it.
All right. How do you protect your mental health while still holding space for grieving families, youth, and community members?
That is a good one. Let's see. How do I balance that? Life things pretty much. So, let's see. So, I balance it in a way. Well, some people say they compartmentalize. I don't say I compartmentalize. I think it's all a part of me. I think that I just give myself time and give myself grace, because I think that sometimes, and especially early on, I had this pressure, but I was like kind of like this invisible person in the back. It's like if you take time off, that you're failing the organizing work you're doing. But yeah, taking time off, because I had a few family members. Really pivotal times kind of pass away.
Yeah.
One example was my whatchamacallit, not my whatchamacallit, but I'll say the events. So specifically, one was the Project Pat show. So we had a benefit concert. Project Pat was performing. It was this huge thing. And I had seen my grandma, who I had known, who was going through hospice, and she had dementia and different things. She was my grandma on my dad's side, and she pretty much maybe a few days after, and I invited some of my aunties out to come see the show. They didn't come because grandma was feeling bad, but yeah, she passed away. She passed away maybe a few days after the concert. So thank you. But yeah, so it was one of them moments where I just took the time, and that next couple of weeks I went out to my was out there in Sumter where the family is, and being with my dad and a lot of the family around that, especially in the country, learning a lot of things even about my grandma that I didn't even know. But as far as some of the things and activism she did in Sumter, that was big for me, and I just took time for it. So not feeling taking time away is like some people look at it as a distraction or something like that. But yeah, I really just I can sit with those emotions. I can, I feel like that's taking time to gain that maturity. But yeah, that's kind of how. Yeah, I don't know if that's the best answer, but yeah, I just take my time on it, and I open with my grieving. I take time think about the good moments with those, with, you know, my family members. I lost my auntie maybe a couple of days after we did this big action. It was like internationally seen, and then like, and she was the auntie that I like was right next to, and like I'd always like, you know, come and visit her. She's my funny auntie. She passed pretty, you know, she was older, but it was like kind of a little bit more unexpected. And yeah, just certain moments like that, I just like take time just like to grieve and like think about, you know, the good moments I had with them. And also think of them as still here in my memory. But yeah, and I know they're always, you know, real supportive of the work I'm doing. So yeah, I usually like, as far, I don't know if that answers how I balance it, but that's at least how I like think about the organizing with it. And yeah, that's.
So how do you balance it for, say, like a family who's lost, you know, who lost their loved one by the police or something like that?
Well, yeah.
How do you protect your mental health while still helping grieving families, you know, and young ones in that same instance?
Yeah, well, actually, there was an instance where one of the people who was killed with somebody from my family that we found out, like I found out going from we were at, where was this at? I think this is Thanksgiving, and we're all going to Thanksgiving at my auntie's house. And I remember it because yeah, we're all on the all just, you know, in the car, and my granddad was like, yeah, like, you know, you hear about, you know, your cousin, whoop, whoop, whoop. And I was like, yeah, I heard, or I didn't know that was my cousin. And I just found out in the car with my mama and everybody else that, you know, my cousin was the one who we had let people know that, you know, something happened. It was like this police chase gone wrong, whatever. But yeah, it's something when I found out I was directly related, that, you know, we had to just sit and deal with that and just be with the family. The family decided not to really go a direction as far as like advocacy route with it. And we just had to be okay with that. So, you know, it's the family and they had to do what they had to do. But but yeah, as far as, and I've seen different families like, you know, express it in different ways. Some families express it in organizing and get involved, but some families just shut down. And you got to be respectful with that too as organizers. That some families not want to engage all the time. And some families, it's okay if you just, you know, take leading the effort and, you know, doing your thing. And sometimes they rather, you know, you just do it a different way. So just be respectful about, you know, their wishes, but also that, you know, there's a need for different things to happen that, you know, it's going to have to happen either way. Because certain things are bigger than the family and bigger than like that one instance. Like, for example, if there's a police officer, there's a certain department that's keeps doing these certain negative things, they need to be held accountable regardless of like, you know, the certain one situation. So what I'd say as far as families, and at least our experiences, we treat them like our new extended family. If they want that, if that's something they want, they need that support group. That's what we offer. So a recent example is like we get our Low Country Black Action Assembly, like something we do 4 times a year. We bring Black folks from around the county, talk about some of the issues that's going on. We had somebody, I want to say like 2 or 3 months ago, there was a Black teenager who was selling palmetto roses. It's a cultural thing here where people take the palm tree, like little leaves, dry it out and turn it into roses, and they, you know, sell it, give it to tourists and local people, etc. If you see, especially in Charleston, most Black people who drive in a car, they'll have like a couple roses in their windshield. Like it's that common. And it's like, I'd say like over half of Black people, if you Black and you're from Charleston, you have a rose in your car or something. So this to say, big cultural impact, you know, but a culture phenomenon in Charleston. One of these palmetto rose artisans is at a Circle K. The Circle K manager calls the police on him. This brutalizes this kid. It goes all over social media. It actually goes on social media twice. So the first time it went on Facebook, went big, and also 3 times really on Instagram it went big when we posted and let people know about it. And then the third time actually on TikTok got it. We don't have a TikTok. but it went viral on there as well. People was hitting us up a month after, like, yo, did you hear about this? It's like, that happened like a month ago. But we connected with the mother. And for a long time, the mother didn't even want, the kid's name out there. She's more like now getting more comfortable with like saying the kid's name, and his name's Terry, and being more vocal about that. But it just came with us being respectful. We didn't ever mention his name till she wanted us to, and never post a picture of his face or anything. But we invited him to our Black Action Assembly because he is actually a visual artist too. So he makes paintings and different like sculpture things. So we invited him out to showcase his artwork. Somebody actually brought it, one of our activist homies, who is also like a young Black man. So I thought that was cool for him to see another young Black man support his work, and actually buy the work. And that was big. I know that was big for him, but it was, big for people to see, people to be able to, pull up and support his work and see him face to face. So yeah, just being that support group. And then Jamal Sutherland, Black man who was killed in Al-Qaeda Detention Center. I was always boots up in the ground with his mom and just, DMing her, make sure she was straight, anything they needed. And one random time, this is like going back in the story, and this is my last thing, but I saw him, he was at the Project Pat concert, and I was like, yo, is that? And then it was his brother, Jamal Sutherland. And I got him the meet and greet tickets because I was like, you ain't got the meet and greet tickets? Like, go ahead, get you one. So I I treated them like how I'd want to be treated, and like let them know like if y'all need the resource, it's here. Like we got you. Like with certain like lawyers, we can connect you with that. And if y'all have a GoFundMe, we can share it. And like we said, like grassroots says before, and something we agree with is like we can share your fundraising. We ain't gonna fundraise for you, but we'll share it and make sure people connect with it. And that's really how we support the families, make sure we're there for them, because I know it's a tremendous experience. Yeah, that's cool. And bring them into the organizing too. Like if they want to come to the city council, they want to come to different things, give them the option and let them know, hey, we're coming to this, just so you know, just so you're abreast of everything. So
yeah, that's cool, and that makes the connection a whole lot better and stronger as well with the families when you respect how they feel and everything. So I think that's awesome. I want to ask you this. This is another one. I'm going off script again. I'm going off my questionnaire again. My brain is moving, bro.
Yeah.
All right. So what was your favorite part of the convening? And then I'm going to go into my next question.
So my favorite part of the convening was there's a lot of good parts. I like the part where it's like a small part of it, but when we left and I think you were there with us at this point, but when we left, there's a few points, but when Dr. Melina Abdullah pretty much walked us around the neighborhood, I like that a lot.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah, I like that a lot because
I got you on tape.
Oh, well, yeah.
I was taping everybody.
Okay, yeah. But yeah, I like that because you can see the respect that people have for her in her own neighborhood, and that's something I respected a lot. Just like people show love. There's like, I know who you were, even with the mask. There's like, oh yeah, I know that's who that is.
Yeah, that was cool.
And seeing like they had their public safety people there, like non-carceral, whatever, people from the community. So I thought that was really cool. She introduced us to them, and that, and like some of the organizers, like there's people from all over the United States and the world, doing their
world. Yeah.
So seeing, hearing about their, like, everybody has a story of like, oh, they got too big or they got too small, or they're trying to figure out just kind of like how to move forward. And I feel like all chapters kind of have different like come to God moments and different issues and high points where everybody saw this and supported it, and then kind of ebbs and flows and type of things. So that made it was very humanizing because like some of the work you do, you feel like we just don't want the worst thing, and there's nobody else who can relate. But then you hear a story about another chapter that had almost the exact same experience, like very similar. So that helped like my self-confidence in the organizers. I was like, a lot of other people doing this, they doing great work, and we're connected by all being in grassroots. So
Yes.
that and the neighborhood tour, those are my two favorite parts.
Yeah. I would say that was one of my favorite parts. And one of my favorite parts about that specific part is the Black college generating amongst each other through all those blocks. Like, that was amazing. For me, I've never seen it, you know. Yeah. So to see that and that magnitude, it was awesome, man. It was a hell of an experience. I'm sorry, I'm a little tongue twisted.
You get
but it was a hell of an experience. And to see that was awesome. To see the unity there, and even the unity between the chapters. You know, I got to hang out, you know, I went out, you know, and all of that, you know, but, you know, it was a crazy night, but we had fun. And I think that was pretty cool. But that was a little off topic, but back to the topic.
Yeah.
All right. So, as a substitute teacher at Burke High School, how do you see the connection between mental health and education for Black youth?
Well, I think that to have a good education, you have to, a lot of times that requires, part of a good education is gaining that mental education on how to, you know, control your different emotions, not control them, but like be in those emotions when you're in them, and like understanding like how to relegate and just like live life as an adult. That takes mental health awareness. It takes training. That's part of education to me. It's just learning how to live that, because you can have all the education about math and science and to be the best scholar, but if you're not happy at the end of the day, like you can really be worse for the people around you. You know what I mean? You can be worse because then you might be somebody manager, and if you're not happy, that your unhappiness now trickles down to everybody. So yes, you're the most accomplished math, science, speaker, whatever. But
you didn't learn about life in a way.
Exactly. And as you know, there's adults like that to this day. Like they're very book smart. They're very like, you know, skill smart maybe, or talented or naturally talented, but they don't know how to talk to people. They don't know how to, you know, be with themselves. And that can be like one of the worst things. Like, it'd be really problematic.
I agree.
Yeah, so that's one of I'd say it's part of the education. And I'd be like, especially high school, because you see people different, like have the outburst. Do they have, you know, you could tell, oh, he's down today or something like that. You can kind of tell those things. So I just really, you know, communicate with them. I make kids laugh, you know what I mean? I'll roast. If they try to roast me, I'll roast them back type thing. But I got to the point now, like, they know I'm the teacher who will roast back, so they don't even play with me no more. But
you said I got something in the chamber for you, youngin.
Yeah, as soon as you walk in, I'm like, I already know. Like, you better not try. You might not try the road. But we have a good time. But I'm also stern too. Like, I'm not the one that's gonna walk over as well. So it's like, y'all tripping? What's up? Like, what you got going on? You're not gonna talk the whole class either. So having like both of that, and also like I'll like drop gems too, like in class, like, oh, you like doing this? Oh, you like playing video games? Did you know there's like a Black-owned video game company in Charleston? Like, look them up. Or like, for example, and mind you, she was in middle school. She, you know, I gave her a pass for not knowing, but she was like, oh, I really want to get into fashion design. And I was like, oh, you know, Virgil Abloh. She's like, nah, who's that? And I was like, what? So like, I was like, you have to look up Virgil Abloh. And I reminded her the next day. I was like, Virgil Abloh, like, look him up if you want to be a designer. Like, he, you know, gave the roadmap for a lot of people. So I usually try to drop gems. And as far as like mental health, like you said, or like I said earlier, just like it is part of education, and it's like it's part of just being a whole person. Like, it's bigger than just being the skill stuff. You got to learn how to be an adult, and that's what when in my substitute teaching, I know I'm not the teacher the whole time, but those are the type of gems I try to drop. Like, this is important for your adult life too. Like, this is, you know, this all connect. So this is why you should listen up. This is why you should do this assignment. Because you really have to give the kids a reason why they want, you know, do it. Because otherwise, it's kind of like, oh, you're a sub, I don't have to worry about this, and people kind of like check out. But
so you get real with them.
Yeah, if you drop a gem, maybe now, oh, he got a point, like, oh, like I might think about what he's saying, or you know what I mean, try to get to him a little bit. And a lot of them see me outside, like I be in the neighborhood. They're not like outside, but they see me in the neighborhood. They see me in the community. I might know their parents, and that can really work in my favor because if I know your parents, then you're already. But
you out of here, especially if you acting up.
Yeah. So that's the community village type of thing with it. But yeah, and I love that too because Burke specifically, I know a lot of their parents. So yeah, that helps because even if you know one person in the classroom's parents, that kind of like makes the class like they chill out a little bit. Because especially if it be one of the problem kids or something like that, who they consider a problem kid, I'd be like, yo, chill out now. Or I'll be like, yo,
put your dad on the horn right now.
Exactly. And also too, like they be wanting attention. I'd be like, I'll let them know, like, hey, if you want attention, you got everybody looking at you right now. And I'll do something like that, not to embarrass them, but like if you doing too much, that's a lot of times they just want people to watch them. And it's like, all right, well, you got our attention, you done, let's do the assignment. You know what I mean? So sometimes it just be that, just acknowledging, you know, where they at, like they talking like they doing too much. I walk over to them like, and you can't do that all the time. Sometimes you gotta like, you know, ignore them, you know, if they're trying to get your attention, but
right, because you gotta keep the blessing going.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, but I try to, you know, just like same thing with like the community of my activism is like build a relationship and just make sure students know I'm there for you. There's your educator. And you see me in the community, I'm your fighter as well. You'll see me on the news. I'm a fighter for y'all. So yeah, it's a lot of like mutual respect from the kids. And they see me at the museum too, because I'm in the International African American Museum. So they actually
get to that. We about to get there.
They have a lot of pride in that though, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So since you mentioned it and I already was going there, perfect segue.
Yeah.
Fighting the CRT ban was a huge victory.
Yep.
Did that campaign affect your mental health? And did you ever feel silenced or gaslit by lawmakers while defending the truth in education?
Yeah, so definitely felt silence a lot of times, especially because there's now a state superintendent who's super far right. So we'd have wins here and there. Really, for like 2 or 3 years, we got wins on the state house level to like, you know, keep, you know, the history of school and not whitewash it. And then once she got to the state superintendency, that's where a lot of the pendulum swinging in other directions started. But yeah, I mean, it was tough because we was going to that state house and you know there's a lot of people who's not going to rock with you. You know, when you go in there and it's really like, it would drain a lot of energy out of me. But we go there all the time. And also what kind of like feed life into me is I'd bring my homies out, like people from the hood, people like who I grew up with, who ain't never been to the state house, who ain't never been to none of that. And I would take them with me and we'd go to like, we'd have like big boxes of like, what's the word? Not pamphlets, but little like cheat sheets type information on the education bills. And we give it to the lawmakers who are on our side or who, you know, maybe was on the fence. And that really gave life into me because I'd be hanging out with the homies and like doing something that they never done before, but they also appreciate it. And one of them who I got to call back, he incarcerated now, but we grew up together. And yeah, like if they wasn't doing that, they'd be in the hood, maybe doing whatever. But yeah, just giving them opportunity to see like, yo, this is what I'm doing now. And they always had a lot of respect for that and still do. So that brought a lot, made it like kind of broke the monotony up, you know, because we was there with like, you know, you're the ACLUs and the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, the lawyers and people. We were people. We love hanging out with them, doing things, but getting my homies from the neighborhood to come out, that made it more real for me. Just so they can see what I was doing and just like be a part of it themselves. And then students as well, like a lot of students with boots on the ground with this. So that kind of like helped even it out because yes, we both felt like unheard a lot and, you know, going back and forth with them. But I think those moments of like, you know, bringing our people out and making sure, you know, people was on point, that helped us get through it.
I think that's pretty dope. So how do you help someone? Let's just say it's a person like you just spoke of, right? Some people was incarcerated. Yeah. How do you help someone that live a street life or just was basically in the streets a long part of their life, but then they made a conscious decision to change that part of their lives and to get into activism. How do you help them?
Well, I think they got a good story because a lot of people who, do activism work, a lot of us have that past of maybe getting in the mix. I mean, you have famous examples like Malcolm X, even like Andrew Davis, less so, but Assata Shakur, and people who I would say like less so in the streets. They had Malcolm X definitely was in the streets like that, but Assata Shakur, she had her experiences, like she was in the mix, going to different, and that's why her biography is so special because she was in like the woke group, she was in the neighborhood groups, and did all her different social circles of the 70s, and she. Yeah, just a lot of actors have that background, but I'd say like for the present day right now, I would say that they have a voice specifically with like a lot, because when they go into a lot of nonprofit spaces, a lot of them don't have that background. They're not from the neighborhood. They grew up wanting to be in a nonprofit or helping people, or maybe like they came from a rich family and they don't want to do what their parents did. But we don't have a lot of people from the neighborhood in a lot of these nonprofit spaces. So I be telling like, yo, bro, like pull up and just like be you, bro. Cause like that's at first I was scared to be me, or like not scared to be me, but
I was too. I can say that.
Yeah, like
even being around everybody, because I'm a hood dude. I'm straight grimy, and my life is different. So this is why I asked that question. It's for other people that's like me. So
you got to be real with it. Yeah, come from. Yeah.
That's why I asked that question, because for someone like yourself that's been doing it, y'all are inspiration. Like I said, and I get inspiration from all of y'all. So,
I would say one more thing too. As far as my inspiration, I know we close to 2 hours already, but
we are. I was about to get into this trombone next, but go ahead.
Yeah.
No. Go ahead. Finish your statement and finish your thought, and then we'll get right into it.
All right, bet. My OG inspired me a lot because he really, he was real on point like early on, and he was just really like somebody who was telling me knowledge and would also try to do truces in the neighborhood. Sometimes the truce ain't go his way, and it kind of showed me early on, like you might have a good intention, it still might not go your way, but at least you're moving right, and what you think needs to be done. So I had a lot of like people who was in the mix early on, but they were still like had a right head on their shoulders. So it kind of showed me early on, like even if you're coming from like a certain situation, you smarter than maybe people who in power. You know what I mean? But just because you come from a certain neighborhood of background, they make you feel like you don't have the knowledge to make things happen, but you really do. You got more knowledge than a lot of people in these bigger positions. Like they will speak with a lot of their campaign pictures be from your neighborhoods, but you know what I mean. But they're not from there. So
they're not from there.
You got the original experience. Like you got to say something. You know what I mean? So that's what I say. Don't feel like you got to have a law degree to like be an activist. Like you can just jump in with your
just be yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I agree with that 1,000%. That's why I was unapologetically myself.
Yeah.
Now, for some people, that might not rub them the right way, because they don't know you for real until you get to really pick my brain. Then you're just like, oh, for some people it's like that. And that's for a lot of people. Even like you just said, for a person that might have a law degree, and you might not know what their background really is. They could have been through the hardest of the hardest times just to get to that law degree. You don't know what their life was like. Pick somebody's brain, have conversations. That's how these things happen, So I agree with you there 1,000%. Now, we are going to talk about the artist side of Marcus McDonald. Let's get into it. All right, we here. Okay. You curate community art exhibits. How does art serve as a healing tool for you?
Well, It does in a lot of different ways, but I like bringing people together. That's what I've always been, especially in college. I used to be the person to bring throw parties at the crib. So I always brought people together with whether it was art, whether it was just me drinking, having fun. So that's been what I was doing, especially when I was younger, and still do. I love bringing people together to this day, and that's part of my activism is bringing people together. So it does play a part, and especially my trombone, I like to play it by the sunset or just at home and just playing my music real loud. And yeah, I think it's a big part because there's a lot of artists who use their voice through the music, and there's also just a lot. I like expression, like activism is expression of what you think, and so is music. So is art. It's like a reflection of your what's going on in your head.
Absolutely.
Values. So yeah, that's what I like about it. I love art. I love listening to music. I listen to music every day. I know someone who doesn't listen to music at all, and that's always so weird to me. But because I know there is some people like that, but I love music, bro. I wish I could listen to more podcasts and do different things, but now I love my music, man. I be playing tunes, 70s to the right now. Like I love Isley Brothers, Erykah Badu. I love going to concerts. I love putting on concerts. Love 365.
Yeah.
So Future.
Well, listen, I want to perform this grassroots song I'm working on, and maybe you can hop on with me.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna let you hear what I got so far when we get off the cam, when we get off the live.
Where?
But listen, bro, I want to know more about this trombone. When did you start playing? How old were you? And tell the people how one of your trombones wound up in a museum. Let's get into that.
All right, bet. So let's see, where do I begin? So my trombone, I started playing it middle school. So my brother played trombone before. He went to Morehouse on a band scholarship. So he was always into the trombone. It was after he graduated that I got his old trombone, which is like a nicer one, professional, etc. So I got that middle school / high school, playing it. Got kicked out of the marching band for some reasons I ain't gonna talk about, but was in the jazz band, stayed in the jazz band, loved jazz. Fast forward, I played it off and on throughout college, graduated, didn't play it as much. The first protesters I was talking about earlier brought it out to those, and I kind of got the name like trumpet man, trombone guy, horn guy, whatever. So people saw me at trombone, it kind of became my identity. So at every protest, I'd bring it out. So this one protest, and I mentioned his name before, but Jamal Sutherland, a man who was killed by Charleston at the Charleston jail. He was suffering a mental health crisis, and he wasn't even convicted of the crime at the time. And fast forward, the solicitors said that they were not going to charge the two officers who tortured and killed Jamal Sutherland. And we decided to protest. And there was a law where you could have 48 hours and you could protest. You didn't need a permit, whatever. So we get out there. Mind you, I didn't know this, and we don't got time to talk about too much about what happened behind the scenes, but apparently the law enforcement, they flipped somebody who knew about the organizing, and they pinned me as the organizer. So we're in Marion Square, about to go down to the solicitor's office, and there's they get the call to arrest me. And mind you, we're about like 75 deep. Mixed race. There's like a lot of different, ages, demographics around us. And I get the call from grassroots type thing for real. You had even like elected officials out there, the ACLU was out there, like people was like watching. So we're planning to go south, right? Towards the solicitor's office. And as we were going down the street, I hear them get the call to arrest me. And mind you, in our small little team, everybody, and even outside of our team, people know if I get arrested particularly, there's certain things that get done afterwards. So and I ain't gonna list all the protocol because again, this is radio, but one of those protocols when you hear about somebody get arrested, you're supposed to surround them. At least I try to block the police from brutalizing them. The police got through that block. One of the police officers had me in a chokehold like this. Another one had me in a chokehold like this. Mind you, I only have one neck, so like they're doing a chokehold on me, and everybody who's around me is like pissed off because we at a protest for police brutality, and y'all police being brutal. And
right?
Exactly. So everybody was like really pissed off. They told me to put down my megaphone, so I put down my megaphone, put my trombone. I see them start kicking around my trombone, and the slide part about it got bent this way and bent that way. And everybody's like yelling, trying to get to the trombone. One of my homegirls who's pregnant now and is also part of the team, she reaches out for the trombone. An officer gets in front of her hand, and they consider that punching an officer for the officer getting in front of her hand and like just making a small amount of contact. They consider that punching an officer. Another person was yelling at the officer, and spittle from him yelling got into the police officer's face. They consider that spitting on an officer, assault on an officer, etc. They got arrested. I got arrested for like disorderly conduct. Excuse me. And so and also the person who like was yelling at the officer, he legally was carrying a gun. But the legal part of it didn't matter for the news or the politicians because they characterized the protest as
he came down there to play and wreck with his
beating up officers and spinning on officers and stuff with guns. And like that was like the whole thing.
Typical jargon that they use.
Exactly. So they demonized us early on. They didn't get our side. They just got the police's side. And mind you, and just like quick while we was there, I threw my phone because I didn't want them to have my phone. Somebody grabbed it and was able to post and get the information out. My trombone disfigured the next day, actually. So we spent the time in jail. I get out at 6, and that was during our summer camp. I get out at 6-ish, like 4. No, I get out at like maybe 4 or 5. I get maybe 2 hours of sleep. And then the next day, I had to do a class at our community center, the East Side Community Center, on public speaking. So I walk in the next day, and all the people, like the staff and the East Side president, they're looking at me. They're like it goes because they like just heard everything.
Yo, we just heard you got
okay. And I'm like, yeah, I'm good. And I like the kids that same day. We do our thing, and it just like bounced back. And I just heard everything on the news afterwards, and yeah, we did. There was one interview we did like afterwards where we had the news talk to us. So fast forward a few days, and we talked about this before. Like, it's like life didn't stop. Like, because at the same time, one of my best friends he went missing in Arizona. His name's Danny Robinson. So like, I'm dealing with that like pretty much right after my arrest, and at the same time, like figuring things out my trombone. So I have my trombone at the repair shop. And they said the repair shop because I want to be able to play it and get it right again. And mind you, Preservation Hall Band, which is like a huge jazz band out in New Orleans, they send me like a plastic trombone just for like protests and just for like backup, which I was super honored to get. But I was like, I need my brass, like good trombone, etc. Right. So, I'm trying to get that fixed, and I'm going to call my mentor. And this is why I definitely encourage anybody, if you have people around you, try to at least find somebody who can maybe be your mentor, somebody can feed life into you. But I'm on the phone with him, and he's like, yo, while you get it repaired, like, see at the museum, we'll take it as an artifact. So he calls me, and I hung up the phone, and I called the horn place. I'm like, stop the repairs. They stop it, and I pick it up and pretty much pitch it to the museum, and they ended up buying the artifact. And there's an interview of me speaking about what happened, and there's a clip of what happened too. Like, and it's been one of the most popular exhibits. Like, people love to come by, and that's the one that people say the most, apparently, to like give the most feedback. They're like, yo, that one, like, because they not only hear me talking, but then they shift to a video of me getting arrested in 2021, and they just like see like people visualizing that. Really, like, it draws a lot of emotion for folks. So it's part of their permanent exhibit. But yeah, that's it. That's how it went down, and it's still up there at the International African American Museum. Yeah, that's how it went down.
That's cool, man. That's definitely cool, and that's going down in history. You know, So I think that's very cool. A part of grassroots history as well.
For sure. For sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So how does it feel to even have one of your trombones in a museum? How does that feel?
I think about it a lot. So like, yeah, it feels great. I know that's something that'll stamp forever. It meant a lot to my granddad. My granddad's a big person in museums. He was like in his 20s going to this, city hall, telling them like, we need to do something about historic preservation. And that nobody listened to him because it was like the 60s and like people ain't give a hoot what black
Way to catch yourself, brother.
Yeah, so me and my granddad, it was the first time I seen him cry. Like, we cried together when he saw my trombone and when he saw me in the museum. So I think about that, just like what it means to the family, what it means to also teenagers, people who are also around my age range, like in their 20s, trying to figure out how they can use their voice. That's what it means more that like I'm glad that it means like people see themselves in me, like even people who know me and they see it they see a part of them in me in that video, you know what I mean? So like I appreciate that and other people seeing themselves in me and like that
inspiration.
Yeah, I like that part about it.
It's very inspiring, and it tells people to keep on going and keep fighting a good fight, man. And I want to say that to you: keep fighting a good fight, good brother. I appreciate you. I thank God that I met you at the convening. I'm thankful that we're able to, still be connected outside of the convening. And we really ain't that far from each other, so we got to hang out, man.
For sure.
We got to do something.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to hang out. Yeah.
Ain't nothing but a little drive up there. Yeah.
Yeah, man, for sure. So, last and final question. I got 2 questions, all right?
Okay.
Looking back, what mental health lesson do you wish you learned earlier?
Ooh, you can't respond to everything on time. And I know people are gonna beat me up for that one, but yeah, you can't respond to everything. Like you don't have to respond to everything like as soon as you get it. And I feel like that's what stressed me out so much, is having to respond to like everything and like a detailed thing. But now what I do more so is like if it's like urgent, I'll respond to it right as soon as I get it. And if it's like something that's like I can deal with in the morning time, I was like knock it all out in the morning, like kind of get it in one go. And kind of just doing it like that. Cause sometimes like I feel like I just like have the pressure, like, oh, I have to answer this. And I have like 10, 15 unread messages, especially in 2020. That made it hard because you kind of had like, I was more like you were saying, like an octopus having like, and I think it made it easier if I just like focus on one task. Okay, I got to do this. And I kind of just like put my phone, like it's still there, but I might have it either, to the side or something. So I kind of like focus on what I'm doing and like task it out. And this right here, like a notepad, like that has like, my to-do list, like that's helped me. So I can like write it down. And like, yes, putting it on the calendar, text on the phone is good, but when you have it written down, you can like look at it. You have the writing memory, like you wrote this down, you put the note, and it feels good to like check things off the list. Okay, I did this. That's helped me because it kind of like, helped me like coordinate my day versus before it's like, okay, I have all these things to do. And then 9 times out of 10, you may not even get half a thing needed done because you were so stressed out by it being so many things. But if you have it written down, like, okay, I can do this part in the morning, this part in the afternoon, and like section it out, it helps a lot, it's helped me. And I didn't know that at the beginning. So it's something I had to learn kind of like on the go, but yeah, and that's a mental thing too, because like it helps your mental when you can like see what you have to do and kind of like, okay, I didn't do this, I'll save it for next week, So that's helped me a lot,
Listen, I'm getting gems, bro. So listen, when it comes to this, for me, I've been trying to put some things together and trying to figure out how I'm going to go about it. And I shot you a text about it, but we'll talk about that. We're about to talk about that off of here. But I want to say thank you for coming on. Thank you for dropping gems. Thank you for being boots on the ground for our people and others. and continue to be a light in the world, man, because that's something only God can give people. So I thank you for that, man. I thank God for allowing you to do that.
Fair.
You know, so anything you want to say before we dip off?
Well, one thing I'll say is don't let fear paralyze you, because this can be a very scary moment and just scary times. But I think the worst thing that you could do in response is just do nothing. So I think that's something that I would just encourage you not to do. Don't be like, I'm going to sit this one out, because it's going to affect you in some type of way, whether you try to sit it out or not. So I think that, getting involved with the organization, whether it be BLM grassroots, whether it be ACLU, NAACP even, or start your own group with people who are, your students who are in your work group, or just your homies that you know. And even if it's a social media, or even if it's just boots on the ground, there's people everywhere that's going to need help, whatever community you're in. So I think, starting, not waiting to start, not waiting and, I need to be in this position to make a difference. Like, you can make a difference really anywhere. There's cashiers, there's bartenders, there's people who are accountants who do background stuff, and they're not in the front grounds, but they support the work that I be doing. So I think just finding your zone, like, you don't have to quit your job, you don't have to start a new business. You can do it from where you're at, and just support people who are already doing the work, or just show up. You don't got to be the speaker. Just show up sometimes and listen, and just be there and be space. That'd be some of the best moments. Like, you just be there, because we be so used to being on social media and just tuning in and tuning out. But just driving to a place, pulling up, or taking an Uber, like, you're gonna learn a lot, and just don't be afraid to just take that first step. So that'd be my main thing. Like, don't be afraid to take that first step, and don't let your fear paralyze you into doing nothing. Because that could be the worst thing. You're gonna look in 10 years and be like, I did nothing. And it's like, you're gonna feel a guilt by it, but I'd rather you feel stupid for going somewhere and not knowing anything than feel that regret. Don't feel regretful and not showing up, because I hear that in a lot of people saying, I wish I came. Like, nah, just don't overthink it. Just show up. Like, it's not, it's not a lesson. It's not an exam. Life is not a quiz. You just have to show up and be you. So that's what I would recommend. Show up for your people. We need people in this moment right now who are not afraid. And even if you is a little afraid, just show up and learn and listen and just be in space, because that's what's important right now. Just showing up, being real,
and don't be afraid.
Yeah, real space with each other. Build those relationships. That's what it's all about.
Hey, man, I want to thank you once again for coming on. Don't hang up. I'm about to hang up with the folks though, and then I'm going to talk to you for a few minutes before we hang up. All right. All right. Folks, we had Marcus McDonald on, came on, he did what he do. All right. Folks, I hope y'all enjoyed this episode. I hope y'all got some gems, and I hope you learned a few things about real activism, boots on the ground. I want to say once again, as always, Black Lives Matter grassroots is Black Lives Matter. Once again, this has been another edition of the Podcast with Tigmatic. It's your boy, Tigmatic. Peace, put God first, and have a great night, y'all.
What's up, y'all? Tune into the Pop Podcast with Tigmatic.
For the Pop Podcast with your boy Tigmatic interview.
Pop Podcast, stirring the pot.
So tune into the Pop Podcast with Tigmatic on Caliwood TV.
Tune in to the Pop Podcast, my boy Tigmatic.
And going on radio. You might get some good music and some knowledge.